think the physical fitness of the driver is really crucial to the outcome at a weekend. In Formula One especially, I think the development of the cars and the engineering has got a lot closer over the years. So how the driver, how that human inside the machine performs can really be a deciding factor at the race weekends. And the environments that we put the drivers in can be quite inhospitable with the temperatures and the G-forces that they experience and the length of the race, that if they're not in the best condition they could be, then you certainly won't get the best performance out of them over a race weekend. The seasons are very long, so say from March to the end of November, we're in season. And during that time, we're really looking to sustain and maintain as high a level of fitness and strength as we can do. But because the season's so hectic, it makes it difficult to train them as frequently as maybe you would do in some other professional sports. So in the winter, the time when they get a break, that's when we're really looking to emphasize the difference we can make with their training programs. It is definitely a different facet to just the pure physical side. And I think for us, when we're looking at drivers coming through the ranks, you get a good idea of who is switched on to the racing, who can get themselves in the right kind of mental place at the right time. For example, I mean, like with the qualifying with Formula One, with it being a shootout, there's a lot of pressure to deliver that performance at a given moment in time. But we do a lot of work with our team doctor, with our mental energy programs, making sure that our drivers are in the best place they can be mentally before they go out in the car for any of the sessions, practice, qualifying, all the races. I think our season's quite unique compared with a lot of sports in the amount of travelling that our guys have to do around the world. So the amount of jet lag that they experience over the course of a season and changes in time zones. And they're never in one place long enough to really acclimatise to that fully. And quite often they're coming back to the UK in between races to use the simulator, or for the engineers, the mechanics and the race team, often they have to be back to work on the car, work on parts of the car, work on the strategy. So it really does take its toll, and during the season, although we will keep training them, we'll probably monitor their recovery and their rest and their recuperation a lot more closely at that point to make sure that they're not being overloaded either by demands of the sport or what we're asking them to do. They need a high degree of professionalism in everything that they do, be it on the track, when they come into the factory, when they're working in the simulator, in their private lives as well. They need to be immensely dedicated to everything they do, because we ask them to invest their time and their efforts in a lot of kind of programs that might deliver the smallest marginal gain to the performance of themselves and the car, but at their level that can make all the difference between winning and losing. And then also they need a lot of perseverance. Things won't always be going their way. In Formula One you won't always have the best car on the track that day, but you need to be still at your best and ready to perform at your best, because at some point you will have the best car, and then you definitely want to maximise your results when you do have that. Concentration is a key element for our drivers, and I think it's easy when a viewer watches the drivers going around the racetrack, you just sort of see their head sticking out the cockpit and you think, wow, what are they really doing? They've got to pick a racing line, but how physical is it, how demanding? But it is incredibly draining, and the amount of weight they can lose to dehydration, which would be easily about 3 kilos, 5% of their body weight, that's a tremendous difference. And as soon as you start to get dehydrated, your cognitive abilities will definitely be affected. So through what we do with their hydration, their physical training, we make sure they're in the best condition to not fatigue. And then the work they do in the simulators and with the team doctor on their mental side helps to keep them mentally in the right place to be able to deliver the results that they want. In motorsport especially, I think there's always been a big focus on the equipment that the drivers are using, and gradually there's been a culture shift more towards the human performance of the drivers and the team supporting them. And whereas in other sports you tend to focus purely on the individuals and the athletes, we haven't done that in the past. So I think there is a lot we can learn from other sports in terms of developing our guys into athletes, and maybe picking up ideas and techniques for assessing them and quantifying where they are at any given time.